Hi, my name is Nikki and welcome to my channel. I am making this video to announce the romantasy readathon that has been created by one of my closest friends here on BookTube, Tori from Tori Between Pages, and I am so excited that she invited me to co-host this readathon. We have 4 teams and I'm gonna get into all the details. You're gonna want to join. So this is a readathon that takes place from February 12th to the 18th, so it's one entire week. Each of the teams, I will get into the teams in a second, has the same amount of prompts, just depends on what you prefer to read for the romantasy readathon. So each of the prompts are 3 book prompts, 1 activity prompt, and 2 bonus prompts. The bonus prompts are the same for all of the groups. So I'm going to get into first the bonus prompts, then I'll get into the teams, and then I'll get into my team's prompts, and then finally some book recommendations if you're at a loss of what to read for my team. So let's get into it. In this readathon, we are channeling our inner Valkyrie, our inner competitive badasses, because there will be a Google form where you can submit the books that you've read for each of the prompts. So the first bonus prompt is read a book over 500 pages. It is a big one, that's why it is only a week. So if you can do this, that would be amazing. And then the second bonus prompt is to read the group book. Our group book is A Court of Ravens and Ruins by Elisa Rain. And I have never read this author. It is a KU book, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm really excited. It is also a new release, and it is a Viking-inspired romantasy book. And I haven't really read anything in that realm. Well, like, I tried to read Shadow of the Gods, but like that wasn't a romance. I am really excited to see how this book is going to play out, and I think that it's going to be a lot of people's cup of tea. So the teams are number 1, Monster Lovers, hosted by READATHON, Cami from Burrows and Books, and myself. The next one is Enemies to Lovers, and that is hosted by Val from Literary Papier and Katie from Katie Colopy. The next one is The Chosen One Champs, and it's hosted by Lucy from Library of Lucy and M from Perfect Paperback Books. And then the last one is Dark Romance Readers, and that is hosted by Katie from Katie's Book Nook and Tori from Tori Between Pages, the creator of this readathon. Since I want to get into a lot of recommendations, I'm just gonna get into my team's prompts and then the recommendations, I would say. My team for Monster Lovers, we have 3 prompts and 1 activity prompt. First, the activity prompt. The activity prompt is to share a pic on your favorite reading spot, and I think that's a great introduction to say that we do have an Instagram. All of the graphics that I post on this video will be on that Instagram, and also if you want to comment, keep connected, and see any announcements, you should check that out and follow our Instagram. And the prompts are a book with a supernatural character, a book that takes place in a different world/planet, and a book with forced proximity. So a book with a supernatural character, we left it quite vague because not everyone is into monster romance, but if you want to take the team group's prompt name seriously, I do have some monster romances that I think would be great introductions into monster romance if you have never read any. But at the end of the day, this is open to interpretation, so if you are someone that just prefers to read a vampire book or a fae book, that's okay too. They are still non-humans, putting it out there, quite literally non-human. If you want to go into the world of monster romance, I would actually really recommend CM Nascoda's books, her Monster Bait series. I've only read the first one, Morning Glory Milking Farm. I will say, before you click out of this video, it is a Minotaur romance, but I have to admit it was one of the more creative romances I've ever read, and also one of the funnier romances I've ever read. It is explicit, and you should really check the trigger warnings in case you're not into that. But if you're into looking to something new, I really liked her writing style. In this series, if you're not into a Minotaur, which is a half cow person, you can also look into The Mothman, which is the second book in that series, and I do think that there is a werewolf in that series. So that's my first recommendation. And the next one that I would recommend if you're not into monsters but you kind of want to feel frisky and a little bit is a shifter romance, and I would actually recommend Shelley Laurelston, and she has a lot of different books and a lot of different shifter types. So I read the Magnus pack and I really liked it, and that was one of them was a werewolf, the other one was a tiger. There were a lot of different ones, but I think her most famous series is this Honey Badger series. Honey Badger shifters, and they're wild. So if you're looking for something that's a bit like out of left field, I think that's a good option. And then the last book series that I'm going to recommend, if you're looking for something like more out of the box, like not a fairy or a vampire, because obviously those count for this, would be Archangel's Kiss by Nalini Singh. And I think that this series, like honestly, like it is for the girlies that love Crescent City, for the girlies that were in a hush hush phase, that ever had an angel phase. This is for you. So this is a book series about someone called a guild hunter, and she ends up being paired off with an archangel to solve the mysterious murders happening around the city. And so if that sounds familiar, it's because this is also like, not gonna say that it's allegedly, like I know that this is her favorite like series, but like I don't know if it inspired. I don't think it did, like, but like, you know, allegedly Sarah J Maas, this is one of her favorite series, so take with that what you will. And then so for the next one, takes place in a different world or planet. I'm gonna like invite you to get out of your comfort zone again if you don't read sci-fi romance. There are so many sci-fi romance books right now. The ones that I have read recently that are part of series that I like, and honestly, like you don't have to read any of them in order and just read them in whatever sparks your fancy. But I really like the Klakian series, and I think that's really good for someone that's like not into like maybe an alien that looks too much like an alien. Like this, like these are people that look like people, they're just like in a different planet. And this is by Victoria Eveline. The first one of that is Choosing Theo, and I'm actually going to be reading Resisting Maxu next week, so I'm excited. That's like the newest release. If you want to adventure further, I would say Dark Planet Warriors, which is about a girl who she's living like kind of like on this asteroid mining camp in like Earth like 300 years in the future, and then like this alien race comes and like invades the asteroid, and like things happen, and she ends up I don't want to get too spoilery. I'm obviously great at describing books. And then the last one, like I think that if you haven't got into it, like this is the moment, this is your moment, this is the time, and it would be Ice Planet Barbarians. Of course, for this prompt, you can do any sort of fantasy book as well that doesn't take place in our world. And even if it does, I think that like if you, for example, sorry for the change in quality, my camera died and I need to finish this video because I have a meeting in a bit. So anyways, we're just gonna keep going with this. For at the end of the day, for the one with a different world or planet, you can do anything, like even the Folk of the Air, which technically takes place in both our world and another universe. Like I think it stands because like we don't have, like as far as we know, we don't have the Folk of the Air in our like universe, so I think it's fine. But yeah, I think that interpret these things as you wish, but I'm just trying to like let you get out of your comfort zone if this is something new to you or you want to experiment in something else. So then the last prompt is book with forced proximity, and I'm actually going to recommend specific books for this. So the first one that I would recommend is Saving Viraco, and this is actually also in the Klepian series by Victoria Eveline. This is a survivalist that she's like one of the people that got abducted, and when she gets to the alien planet of Klekia, she's like, I'm not staying with this. Like, I don't know what the rest of these aliens are going to want with me. So therefore, she ends up just like living in the wild for a bit, and she ends up doing her thing. Like, she's like living her life. She ends up kind of like getting like saddled with one of these aliens and having to help him because like he doesn't have any survival skills, and then like they have this growing attraction between each other, and he's also like a green alien, so like that's something funky and fresh. It's kind of like amphibious, but like not spicy. Another one I would recommend, if you end up reading Ice Planet Barbarians, maybe read Ice Planet Barbarians 2, because that is a forced proximity book. That's another good sci-fi recommendation. And if you're looking for something that's more of like a vampire, sort of like tickle that itch, I would recommend the Black Dagger Brotherhood series Dark Lover, which is book 1 of that series. So like you're just jumping in, you're starting it, you're gonna love it and stay there. That has forced proximity, as well as Immortals After Dark book 1, and that is A Hunger Like No Other. That also has forced proximity, and you're gonna like it. Like, also book 0.5 also has forced proximity. I think that's like a big trend in these books, so like I don't know, if you like it, you like it. Also, like if you want to go like a bit like, you could also try Manifold, which also has forced proximity. That's a Germani fanfiction, and it's one of the best books I've ever read. I actually still haven't finished it, but like, don't quote me. That is about it. As I mentioned, there's a Google form to fill out the books that you read, and we want our team to win, so make sure you fill that out. and I will link everything down below, including the co-hosts, including the Instagram, including the Google form. Is there anything else that I'm missing? I don't think so. If I do, there'll be an addendum from Nikki right now. But thank you so much for watching this video and for joining me in this process. This was like a lot of information for me to put out there, but I'm so excited because like romantasy is like my favorite genre and I can like eat that up. So I'm expecting that the shortest month of the year I'm gonna have the most books because that's just like my thing. That's my thing. I also have like a pretty chill class that month, so I'm like, excellent. So yes, let me know down below if you plan to pick up any of the books that I recommended or your TBR. I will also be having a TBR book thing later this month. And I'll see you next time. Bye.